Hello, welcome to another edition of Snom TV. This is our YouTube channel where you can watch all kinds of films about our products and our services and our software. And today we'd like to take a look at specifically at our latest version 10 software. And I've got joining me on the couch today, Mark Wiegleb, our head of Interop and Integration.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, thanks for joining us.
I'm happy to be here.
Perhaps you could maybe outline a few of the things which you think are most important about the new version 10 that we have of our software.
Yes, of course. So version 10, big milestone for our company. It's a big step for us because we changed quite a lot in our firmware. And when you first plug in the phone, I think you will immediately find out that the whole graphical user interface is completely new. And you will find out that we introduced a couple of really cool new features, and some of these features we want to discuss today.
Okay, well, that sounds very interesting. Perhaps you could tell me, what is your favorite feature?
My favorite feature, and I think most of our customers will think the same way, is quick lookup. So quick lookup is a completely new way of how to find the contacts you want to call, and it saves a lot of time and a lot of hassle because you don't have to dive into a directory first and then scroll through a contact list to find the right contact you want to call. It's just from the idle state of the phone, you just start dialing, typing in the first letters of the name you're looking for, and the telephone will automatically start looking for permutations of these combinations of letters in local directories and also LDAP server directories, which is really cool.
That sounds pretty easy. Perhaps you could show us how that actually works.
Cool, of course. So here we have a D785, and we want to call our colleague, for example, and we know her last name or his last name is Krabbe, but of course nowadays no one knows anymore any telephone numbers. So instead of pressing the directory key and looking for the contact in the directory as we used to do it before version 10 firmware, we just start dialing or typing in the first three letters of the last name or the first name. But in this case I just load the last name, so it's Krabbe, so I type 5 for K, 7 for R and 2 for A. And then the phone starts looking, and we have a result. We have one result. It could be multiple results, but in this case we just have one hit, and it's Krabbe. And I have a nice contact picture, so I'm sure that I'm calling the right person because I know how my colleague looks like. And so I just scroll down, select this result, and initiate the call. And we have
oh, there I see. Mr. Wellbrook is calling Mr. Krabbe.
Exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
That's great.
So that's fairly easy, and as I mentioned, this works on local directories, so contacts locally stored in the directory on the phone, but also on LDAP server directories, like a company-wide directory based on LDAP.
Wow, that's a real time saver.
Absolutely.
And for those people who can't save telephone numbers in their heads, it's also something that helps them to find their colleagues.
Made for you and me.
Yes, precise.
Yeah.
So Mark, the D785, it's a flagship of our D7 series now, has some wonderful hardware features, including the second screen, and looks great, color display, etc. Perhaps you can explain a little bit about how the version 10 software takes advantage of this new phone.
Yeah, sure, of course. So the second screen is meant to easily label the function keys you have on the side. So in the older days, you would have a paper strip you have to write on. Now it's all digital, so we have a display. So whenever you change a function key, this gets reflected automatically on your phone, which is great. But there it doesn't stop. So we thought, okay, maybe it would be nice for an out-of-the-box experience if people would actually have like pre-configured keys already when they take the phone out of the box and plug it the first time in, just to show them what they can use these function keys for. And we came up with 4 keys we have pre-configured on the D785, for example, or the 385 as well. And maybe we should just go quickly through these 4 features to explain to people what they're about. So the first is what we call ad hoc conference. Yeah. We all know most of the conference calls are between 3 parties. So we are in a call, and then we would like to take another person into the call to discuss this matter. And this can be sometimes a little bit complicated to operate on a phone, a lot of keys pressing, holding a call, transferring, etc. So we came up with this easy-to-use wizard to just easily initiate this conference call, and we can show this right now for the people. So we have the key, which is labeled conference, on our second screen display. So if we press this key, we will see on the main display a small setup wizard. So it's asking me for the conference participant number 1. For example, in our case, this is Mr. Möller, let's say, the 103. So we type in 103, press the key next, asking for the second participant, and this is the 102, Mr. Krabbe. And then we press OK or Enter. And what this does is, let's pick up the phone. This initiates a call to both of the participants at the same time, and we immediately in a conference, in a local conference on the phone, we see here on the screen the participants of the conference, and we can have our conference call, and it's really easy to handle.
Fantastic, yeah, that really is, and that's an onboard function.
That's an onboard function. So this is the first predefined key we have on the 785 on the second screen. The next one is as nice and important as the first one. It's called smart transfer. So this key is, again, it's like a wizard to configure a transfer key to a specific target number, and this enables you to transfer a call you have with just one press of a button to this target number. So instead of pressing a transfer key, typing in the number, pressing OK, this is just far easier to transfer this call or the calls you have to this specific number. Where is this handy? For example, if you sometimes need to leave your desk and you want to take the call you have from your desk phone with you, you could put as a smart transfer target, you put your mobile number or any other mobile device, and then you would transfer the call onto your mobile device. You just take the
Okay, so you could just push it to your mobile phone and take the call with you.
Yeah.
I see.
And what the key does is just, again, a wizard to activate this feature, if you like. So I press the button, and then we see on the main screen, it's asking me to enter the smart transfer target. For example, we put in here the 103, just for explanation purposes. We press enter. It says soft key ready to transfer calls. Great. We also see on the second screen the labeling of the button changed, the icon changed, and we see the target number 103. So if we are in a call with person Mr. Krabbe, for example, let me just quickly call you, 102. If you could pick up the phone, please. And now we could just transfer easily with one press this call to Mr. Möller. So I will press the smart transfer key. And we have now the call, the ringing of Mr. Möller. And now Mr. Krabbe and Mr. Möller in a call.
Are now connected, okay.
Exactly.
So you've basically pushed the call away from yourself
with
and
just
pushed
one
it
click
to Mr. Möller and Mr. Krabbe. Yeah.
So this is a really easy one-click transfer.
Yeah.
There's no way faster to do that. So that's smart transfer.
What else have we got then?
Yeah, plenty of things to talk about. So we have silent mode. What is silent mode? So we have a phone that is in idle, so it can receive calls, and then we have a feature called D&D, Do Not Disturb. Everybody knows this feature. So if I activate D&D, no calls will come in. So they will completely be blocked, and depending on the policy that is behind it, either go to my voicemail directly, or the caller will receive a busy tone, or whatever is configured. But sometimes D&D is slightly too much. So maybe I really want to work on an important project or whatever, and I don't want to be disturbed by the ringing of the phone. But maybe I would like to be able still to decide if I want to take the call or don't want to take the call. But I just don't want this disturbing ringing every time a call comes in. So
now I think I understand the difference. So instead of putting up a wall, which is DND, which stops everything coming in, at least you can see the calls coming in without them necessarily interrupting what you're in the middle of. So if you're in a meeting, for example. Then
so you will see the caller ID, the person who's calling you. You will have on the top LED the visual indication of the call,
light.
But you won't hear the ringing. Exactly. So it's like a DND light, if you like. Yeah?
Okay.
And it's not so rude for the other person because you're not blocking per se every call.
I see.
But yeah.
So it's there's a level of politeness.
Exactly.
You can maybe decide if it's urgent to pick up the call as well if you see who it is that's calling. So, yeah.
So to activate this Asylum mode, we also have a pre-configured key in the second screen. So if you press Silent Mode, you will see the indication that this feature is now activated in the main screen. So this icon change, we have the crossed out bell, it says ring as off, but the phone can still be called. So if you would like to call the extension, my extension 101, we can just showcase this feature.
There we go, ringing.
Yeah, so we see now ringing, the call is coming in, we have the visual indication on the top corner LED. So now I can just decide, okay, do I just let it die out, or I say, okay, Mr. Krabbe is really important, so I better pick up that call. And that's Silent Mode. Maybe also important to note, so we see that this feature is activated in the main screen, but we also have the indication on the function key itself. So the LED
on the
is
second
now
screen. I see.
Red light, so we immediately see, okay, we have a feature activated, and it's important. Yeah. The last one we can talk about of the features on the second screen is the dialed feature. So dialed is just a key that brings the person with one click immediately into the call history. Yeah. So I can press the button, and then the phone jumps into the call history, and it jumps to the section of the dialed numbers. So it's like a redial key, but it's not just going into the dialed numbers, but it's going into the call history. But I can still jump into a different list. Like if I say, okay, I'm not really looking for a number I dialed, but maybe a missed call or a received call. So I'm still able with the navigation key to scroll through the different lists of the call history. Yeah. So it's just a dedicated key to make it easier, because not everyone knows that you can press also the tick button and get into the same list. So we thought, okay, maybe it's a good idea to just have a dedicated key bringing the person into the list of dial calls.
I see. So it's a shortcut to getting into your list of missed, dialed, and calls that you've made. Yeah.
So with all the new features we're introducing with version 10 firmware, they all have in common that we tried to not just bring a new feature, but we really tried to make the everyday operations of a Snom phone or a desk phone far easier and more intuitive and time-saving for the persons.
Back to the software, perhaps you could tell me a little bit about the user interface, Mark.
Yes, of course. So when you turn on the phone the first time, you will see that the user interface has completely changed. So nothing as it was before. What we try to do is give our phones a very fresh and modern-looking UI, and but not only good-looking, but also easier and more intuitive to use. So we created a complete new set of icons to guide the person who's using the phone, what actions to expect when he presses that particular key. And we played a lot with colors, so with the color schemes, that makes it far easier to read the screen and just use all the features that the phone has to offer.
That sounds much more visual, more graphic, less words, more pictures?
Absolutely, yeah. And you can see it here in the idle screen. But this is not where it stops. but we went even a step further and made the complete user interface, as you see it here, completely customizable for our customers. So we introduced a huge set of new settings where you can define background color, transparencies, the color of the bars, of the scroll bars, font color, and all these things that enable you to make this phone your phone, or the company who buys the phone, make it their phone.
Right, so they can put their logo onto it, for example, or something like this.
Yeah, not only the logo that we could use do also in the past already, but with the version 10 firmware we can go many steps further. So to show some of the things I was talking about, maybe we start what we call a demo mode. So we have a demo mode introduced into the phone where we can show our viewers what we are capable of doing in terms of customizations. So what we see here now is a demo mode, but it shows nicely what we can also create in real life. Yeah. So everything you see here is actually doable with our phones, and so we see we can exchange background images. We can define transparency for the top bar and the bottom bar, for example. You see here a lot of personalized icons. For example, in this case, it's a demo mode for, or an example for a hotel chain. So you have an icon for call receptionist, for example, or for housekeeping. So we can create new icons and upload them easily to the phone and personalize completely the phone for particular use cases. In this case, it's a complete different setup, but you can think about many different use cases, like airline companies that need at the desk, at the counter, at the check-in, particular speed dials or function keys they use every time, and they need a specific icon just to visualize, okay, what is this key for? And we can offer this now with these customization features on our phone, which is really cool.
That sounds great, yeah. So that's a lot of customization which can be done directly on the phone by the users.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mark, so here we have the Snom D735, one of our newer models, and the first Snom phone to feature a sensor. Could you perhaps tell me a little bit about how version 10 software takes advantage of this sensor featured on the D735?
Yes, so we have, for the first time, we have a sensor built into our phone. The sensor is positioned just above the keypad, so you can see it here. And it's a proximity sensor. So now you might ask me, what do we need a proximity sensor on a desk phone for? Well, here we have a fairly small form factor phone, but we have put a lot of function keys around the screen because our customers, they use and need a lot of function keys. So what we try to do is to make the most out of the screen in the different states the phone might be in. So let's say the phone is just sitting on the desk, it's in idle mode. We have the labels of the function keys in a minimized form, what we call the short form. So we just see, maybe on the right hand side you see we have an icon and an abbreviation of the function that sits behind that key. But when you're about to press one of the keys, you might need a little bit more and additional information to make the right choice which key to press. So this is where the proximity key, the proximity sensor comes in. So when the user approaches the phone to press a key, the sensor detects the hand and opens up what we call the full mode of the labeling of the function keys. So now we see the icon, we see the word conference, smart transfer, Asylum Mode. If you would have a BLF key, you would see the full contact name, which is behind the BLF key. So with this, you're always sure you press the right key.
Wow.
And when we take our hands away, the phone goes back into the short mode or the idle state of the phone. Hands to the phone, full mode, hand away, goes back to short mode.
That's a great feature. It really is. Everything at your fingertips.
Absolutely.
And as I understand, with version 10 software, we are also introducing a new ambient light feature. This should allow for the sensor to detect when lights are either bright in an office environment, for example, if it's sunny outside, or if all the lights are on, to reduce the actual amount of light that you can see on the display. And also, if it's dark, of course, to put it into a sort of standby mode so that the phone isn't just basically blasting out loads of electricity.
Yes.
And increasing the carbon footprint of a company, which may not make much of a difference on one single phone, but on larger deployments where maybe there's hundreds, if not thousands of phones in use. Yep. That could make quite considerable savings, I would imagine.
Absolutely. So this is actually a feature everyone knows from their smartphone. Yeah. So
right.
Bright light, you need more background light on your display to be able to read what's on the screen, and if it's darker, the phone or the display just dims down. And with one of the next firmware versions we will release, we will activate this ambient light sensor, which is already built in. So if you already purchased a D735, you will be able to use this feature on your phone. It's just a software update. So we activate the ambient light sensor, and yeah, with this, when you leave the office, you switch off the lights, the phone will go completely dark or just dim down to save energy, which is very important.
So Mark, thank you very much again for explaining Firmware 10 to us. That was very interesting.
It was my pleasure. It was fun to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. And for everyone else, if you're interested in downloading Firmware version 10, you can go to our new service hub, which is at service.snom.com. You can also, if you're interested in picking up on any new videos that we have coming up, and we have quite a few in the pipeline, including things about our products and our services and our firmware, of course, then please feel free to subscribe to the Snom YouTube channel. You can do that here. You're also more than welcome to leave your comments below in the comments section. If you have any questions or anything you'd like to discuss with us, then feel free to enter those comments. And of course, we're always happy if you like our films too. Thank you very much, and see you next time.